Williams, Gyökeres and Saka as your front three, Declan Rice, Zubimendi and Odegaard as your midfield, Lewis Skelly at left back, the two big boys in Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, and you've got Timber. And we actually have the numbers. I don't know. What would you lot make? Could we get over the line with this? Assuming Williams gets more goals than Martinelli, assuming Gyökeres, I know he's got like 46 or something goals in as many games. Even if you got like 20, we know what Saka brings to the table. A fit and firing Odegaard, Zubimendi at the base, Rice continuing as an 8, Lewis Skelly doing what he's doing. These boys more so, Gabriel chipping in from set pieces. It could be a movie. And we definitely need a striker because look at it. Arsenal's top scorers in the Premier League after 33 games this season. Kai Havertz has 9. Gabriel Martinelli and Trossard have 7. Mikel Merino has 6. Saka has 6. Nwaneri has 4. Partey has 4. Jesus has 3. Magalhaes has 3. Odegaard has 2. Rice has 2. Now, Rice scored 2 great goals in the Champions League. And, I think in terms of goals and assists, he's better technically in all comps, better last year. And since he's come to Arsenal, he's been improving in that regards. But his primary job is not going to live or die by scoring goals. We all know of Martin Odegaard's form. Gabriel Magalhaes is injured, but we know he's good from set pieces. Jesus is allergic to scoring. Unfortunately, when he was getting into a bit of form, he got injured. Partey, unlikely source of goals, but we know there's going to be a couple of headers and an occasional screamer across the season. Nwaneri, has gone from being a young player on the peripheral things to scoring goals, but he's not the main guy like that. Saka is one of the main guys. He was obviously injured. That's why his 6 goals take nothing away from Mikel Merino. But he's, it's taken him a while to get going. And again, as much as he's playing up front, if his primary job is for us to score goals, which evidently wins games, we're in trouble. And he's found his feet. Like you look at, to be honest, Martinelli, Trossard, and Merino, they've had, it's not just purple patches, but they've had a little purple patch across the season. Apart from Saka, who's been injured, nobody really provides that consistency. So, yeah, we've got 100 goals in all comps. It shows that the goals are staggered. Kai would probably be on a bit more if he was fit. But it tells you why we need a striker. Like, we need a striker. We need the goals win games. We need that X factor. We need that striker. We need to find a way of holding on to games from winning position. We got 12 draws. If we converted half of that, the title is still on. And not to speak about the losses. The losses had a lot of problems. But you look at, for me, Bournemouth, which everything went wrong. West Ham, which everything went wrong. Newcastle, which everything went wrong. And it's nothing to all. There's all other factors. But you look at it. We've gone into those games off the back of some very intense games. So again, quantity as well as quality is required, but we need a forward. We saw that stat with Odegaard, but apparently Arsenal staff have a concern about Martin Odegaard. Allegedly, they've raised concerns behind the scenes about his fitness. I think he's still playing with an injury. It won't shock me if he has some sort of surgery. I think he's lacking in confidence because his form's on the floor and because of that ankle. That being said, I'm not cutting excuses because regardless, you've been fit for a while now. You're fit enough to play. I commend you if you are injured with wanting to play, but ultimately you're playing in it. So, yeah, man, form is temporary, class is permanent. But Wonderguard, we need you to get back to it, man. A 2-month injury layoff with an ankle issue between September and November is believed to have caused him further issues, which have contributed towards, I think they mean his dip in form. Allegedly, people, there's concerns. Let's see exactly what was said. From what I hear, there are concerns about Odegaard. His performances haven't been up to his usual standards since he got injured earlier in the year. I think that's something they're worried about, whether he has fully recovered from that blow or whether he's suffering from the long-term impact of it. When I look at Arsenal, I see Declan Rice and the influence he has on the team. You know what you're getting with Rice. He's giving you consistent performances. His role in the middle and what he brings to the team is clear. There are other players in that side, like Odegaard, who go through highs and lows. I think Arsenal want to surround Rice with players who can make a real difference week in and week out. Aside from Saka, they don't create an abundance of chances at the moment. And when they do, you never know if they're going to put them away. Saka has to create and score them. So that's where the questions about Odegaard come in. He's a very good technical player, but at the moment, he isn't consistent enough and isn't doing enough to make the difference they've been looking for. This is also said Partey and Jorginho's contracts are running out, which we already know. People smash the like button, and we're still pursuing Martin Zubimendi. On the topic of Gyökeres, Graham Bailey has spoken, people, and said Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta is becoming increasingly keen on signing Gyökeres, TBR can reveal. The club want a win now striker, and Berta believes that Gyökeres might be the final piece of the jigsaw. Arsenal have continued to do their work on Gyökeres and have been conducting background checks as they do on all major targets. Those reports have all been glowing as a person and character, aside from his talent on the pitch, which the club already convinced about. Music to my ears, but get it done. Until he's holding shirts saying, I grew up watching Bergkamp, Ian Wright, Thierry Henry, it's all was. Apparently, Berta tips Gyökeres to make immediate Arsenal impact, people. We'll have to see. Apparently, Graham Bailey understands that Berta now firmly believes Gyökeres could be an instant starter for Arsenal. A striker is ready to plug in and play. Win now mode. So, yeah, if we've done background checks on his character, if we're convinced of his ability, and he's 26, ready to go, let's do it, innit? And those reports on Gyökeres have all been glowing as a person and character. Aside from his talent on the pitch, which Arsenal are already convinced about, Gyökeres is attracted to Arsenal's project, and both Berta and Arteta really like the striker. Arsenal are interested in the likes of Benjamin Sesko, Liam Delap, and even Hugo Ekitike, who David Ornstein spoke about. But there are some doubts about whether these youngster strikers will be ready from the off. Arsenal want a win-now addition, and Berta believes that a striker might be the final piece of the jigsaw. I wouldn't say the final piece of the jigsaw, but it would help. Of course, and on the topic of strikers who could be ready to make an impact at the Emirates immediately, Vlahovic's name still can't be ruled out, still linked with him. Allegedly, Arsenal are still big fans of the Juventus forward, who's probably going to depart Juventus owing to his contract and the fact that he earns, I think, 12 million a year, highest salary both at Juventus and in Italy. He'd be a cheaper option than Gyökeres, perhaps allowing Berta more wiggle room in the pursuit of additional targets. Yeah, but he'd probably command bigger wages. Vlahovic is back starting regularly for Juventus, but a new contract for the Serbian international is still no closer. Vlahovic could cost around 25 million for Premier League club this summer, a bargain price when it's considered that Juventus paid more than double that for the striker in 2022. A big summer for Berta and Arteta, and one that the club seem to be determined to get right, which we're going to need to. Once again, we've heard Arsenal are opening talks with Gyökeres people in an early summer deal. Berta, once again, is a big fan. Negotiations are taking place to convince him, and a package is being put together for his signature. Osimhen, who's been linked with Man United today, has been name dropped here, as has Benjamin Sesko, people. We're going to see it, have to see how that goes. We're still being linked with Kingsley Coleman, which I don't buy, but if you do, fair play. Dean Jones has said Arsenal are yet to fully make up their minds on whether they'll make a move to sign Nico Williams, but the player is a key target, Give Me Sports sources have confirmed. While Arteta would also love to bring him to the club, private suggestions to Give Me Sport have confirmed that although Arsenal are wary of how much Williams is going to demand in terms of salary, the player will not let such an element stand in his way of making a move if that's what he decides to do. Now, maybe there's concerns about the players. Maybe there's other players available. Maybe, whatever. Maybe he doesn't want to leave Bilbao. Maybe he wants to wait for Barcelona or another club. Maybe we haven't received enough, maybe we believe in the man's ability. We've heard Berta's allegedly spoken to his agent, which every club is doing that with every potential target. If he's spoken to his agent and you ain't really seeing positive signals like that, then that's probably where we're yet to make up our minds. Maybe you haven't been given enough conviction to humor you lot to pursue it, in which let's move on and go for other targets. Romano has said, from what I'm hearing, Arsenal are also interested in Huijsen. Newcastle's dream of him. I think it's going to be very difficult to get the deal done now with Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal. These three clubs are really interested. What else has he said? These three clubs are really interested. I think he's going to stay in the Premier League because there's genuine interest from Real Madrid, and the player would be really attracted by Real Madrid as a Spanish player, of course. But at the same time, I'm hearing that internally at Real Madrid, they're still not whether they, I think they mean not sure. They're still not whether they want to sign a centre-back or not in the summer, how much they spend. They have Raul Asensio at the club who was doing very well. Was he? Wasn't doing very well in the long 90 minutes at Bilbao, was he? Moving away from that. So that's why Real Madrid are not convinced, not about Huijsen, but about signing a centre-back in the summer. This is why the timing is helping the English clubs. So Liverpool will be there, Arsenal will be there, Chelsea will be there. There's a release, 50 million. So negotiations is on the player side, basically. I'm sure these clubs will push and push again in the next days, weeks to try and reach an agreement with Huijsen and their camp people. I mean, bring him to the carpet, people. Apparently, he intends to leave Bournemouth. We've also heard Ornstein smash the like button. We've also heard Ornstein say that he's coming in to complement the likes of Saliba and Gabriel rather than necessarily replace them. Music to my ears, if true, and Mbeumo's having a great season at Brentford. Allegedly, Arsenal remain keen on Mbeumo, and Premier League clubs are on red alert. His contract is expiring. I think he's got an option of another year. I think he's got a year left in 2026. And apparently Liverpool, Man United, Newcastle, as well as Arsenal, all interested. He's got 50 million price tag. He's been called a mini Mo Salah. I'm not sure I agree with that, but yeah, he's having his best season in West London, people. He ranks joint fourth among the Premier League's top goal scorers. He's got 18 goals, 18 goals, 7 assists in 37 appearances. I'm on it. Arsenal are believed to be eyeing a new wide forward after the season, with Bilbao's Nico Williams earmarked as a high-profile alternative to Mbeumo. I'm not going to lie, I'm having Gyökeres and Mbeumo. I like Nico Williams, but I'm not on this Lele thing. By all means, go after Gyökeres, Sesko, Zubimendi, Nico Williams. But when it becomes apparently clear, for whatever reason, whether that's wages, maybe the player wants to sign for us and you can't agree something with his club, make sure we're able to pivot. Really and truly, we need to. Once again, people, we're still yet to fully decide on Nico Williams. This has said he's still torn over the prospect of leaving Atletico in the upcoming summer transfer window. I hear it. You're 22. You might even win the Europa League with Bilbao in your homeland. You might get to play in the Champions League with them. I don't know where you're at, but if he's in two minds, we ain't got time to waste. So, I think that's if he's moving half-hearted. I think that's why Arsenal are moving half-hearted. You know, we learned. I would say we've learned the lesson, because we went after Rafinha, where at the time we were the third choice. He wanted to go to Chelsea if it wasn't Barca, and you saw it work. There's no point chasing people that don't want us. What has this said in relation to Williams? Everybody just saying the same things. We know it'd be a good signing for us. We know we've been linked with not only Bournemouth's Henson, but also Brentford's Nathan Collins. One other thing I find interesting is Arsenal is looking for another defender. Dean Huijsen and Nathan Collins are two they're looking at, and they insist they want them to complement Saliba and Gabriel. Fair enough. Arsenal decide to not renew Thomas Partey's contract. According to Sancha Trivelli, Arsenal have taken the decision not to renew the contract of Thomas Partey. The Ghanaian international midfielder's contract with the Premier League club is set to expire at the end of the season. As a result, the 31-year-old looks set for departure in the summer transfer window as a free agent. Apparently, this has alerted the interest of several clubs. Trivelli understands that clubs in both the Premier League and Saudi Arabia would be interested in signing the 31-year-old on a free transfer. Whilst the midfielder is happy in London and would be willing to stay in England, talks over a move to the Saudi Pro League have already begun. He's also been linked with Barcelona and a move back to Atletico Madrid. And there's rumours every now and again how he's got an option in his option of a further year in his deal, hasn't been taken up. He's rejected a potential contract offer for Arsenal, or it's undecided. Who knows? I personally think they've made a decision on him. The former Atletico Madrid midfielder has impressed the Ministry of Sports in the Gulf state with his performances in the UEFA Champions League, and Partey is understood to have responded well to their interests. Of course, with the zeros they're going to throw at you. So yeah, he's apparently settled here. Apparently he's being offered a potential 3-year contract. So the money you're going to get in Saudi and a 3-year deal at 31, I hear it, especially if we end up winning the biggies. Fair enough. Arsenal seemingly agreed a deal for Martin Zubimendi had hit a stumbling block, but the Gunners will still be confident they can get the deal over the line. Joshua Kimmich has been linked with us, but owing to his new deal at Bayern Munich, I'd imagine that's a myth. Looking at this, people, it's linked us with Liam Delap, who apparently has emerged as a target for Arsenal, though the Ipswich striker is set to buck a broader transfer trend at the Emirates Stadium, as new sporting director Andrea Berta puts his stamp on the club. Apparently, Delap has joined Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins on the Gunners' shortlist for a supporting striker role as part of Berta's revamped transfer strategy. Watkins, who Arsenal approached back in Jan, is viewed as a striker oven ready to lead the line. I like that terminology. Delap, on the other hand, has impressed Berta with his physicality and development this season and is considered a viable rotational option who could complement a lead striker such as Victor Gyökeres. But surely that would be Kai Havertz and maybe even Marino, because I think Marino will still get substantial game time in midfield. The inclusion of both strikers speaks to the club's new 2-striker plan. One proven Premier League name, another younger option who offers flexibility, potential, and sell-on value. Sesko pays the price for Berta's new approach. Sources say Berta was clear from day one. Arsenal need to win now. That means competing for the Premier League and pushing deep into the Champions League. To do that, he believes the club must shift away from signing younger players and instead focus on players who are already operating at the highest level. Do you agree? Do you not disagree? Smash the like button and let me know. Benjamin Sesko is one player who appears to have been affected by this new approach. While still admired internally, the 20-year-old is no longer seen as a top priority under Berta's direction. Instead, the focus has moved firmly to players like Watkins, In those early planning meetings, Arteta also floated the idea of Morata, but Berta dismissed it, insisting Watkins was the better fit. That led to a concrete approach for the England international during the transfer window. Clear switch in Arsenal's transfer strategy. At the beginning of the season, Arsenal's transfer plan, shaped by Edu and Mikel Arteta, was clear. Continue targeting young, high-profile talents who could develop into first-team stars over time. But that vision has shifted significantly since Berta took over as sporting director. The Italian is already stamping his authority at the club, with sources telling football transfers he's leading a major change in how Arsenal approach the market. Now the focus is firmly on bringing in players who can make an immediate impact. As part of that shift, Arsenal just aren't chasing a marquee striker this summer. They're also in the market for a second forward who can add depth and versatility to the attack, something football transfers has previously reported. It's clear Berta is already shaping Arsenal's identity in the transfer market. With Arteta back in the new direction, the Gunners look set for a summer transfer window centered not around potential but proven quality. And that would also tie in with here, because Arteta has been on record saying Arsenal are in store for an exciting summer transfer window, and a busy summer is to be expected. So we'll have to see how that develops, people. Arsenal target, I'm not even going to waste time on this. Allegedly, Jules Koundé has informed Arsenal of his desire to remain at Barca. We were linked with you just before we got Ben White, so you never know. His contract is up in 2027. Barcelona are always in a delicate financial state, and it's just easy to make whispers up about any player. So with Timber, pardon me, and obviously Ben White, if Koundé was a left back, I'd believe slightly more into this, but yeah, I don't think it's a that thing. Is there any updates here? Let's see what's said here with Nico Williams. Nico Williams is torn whether to join Arsenal or stay at Bilbao this summer. I understand it's the first significant move. You know, Bilbao's all you need. But if you need all you know, but if you need convincing, this ain't the club for you. Give Me Sport report that Arsenal have made Williams once again a key summer target, but have not yet decided on it. Apparently, he's still very attached to his hometown club and would find it difficult to leave. He would also be more likely to remain if Athletic qualify for the Champions League. They're currently fourth in La Liga with 6 games remaining, and they're also into the semi-finals of the Europa League. They win that, they've got a place there anyways. As for Williams, he's also torn on whether to accept to move to Arsenal if an offer does arrive, or whether to stay at Bilbao. Apparently, we'd be happy to trigger his 58 million euros release clause, even if his wages, are a lot of money. Barcelona and Arsenal are still in the mix, and you'd imagine everyone and their nan would be interested in someone of Nico Williams' quality. We are being linked, and like a number of clubs, in Florian Wirtz, as is Real Madrid, who apparently are close to getting Xabi Alonso. Wouldn't surprise me if Wirtz either goes to Bayern Munich. Well, to be fair, you could see him at Bayern Munich, you could see him at Real Madrid, you could also see him at Manchester City as that kind of Kevin De Bruyne replacement. I would love Arsenal to be in the mix for Wirtz, people. Apparently, we're in the mix. I don't know how far that goes. He would be someone that could play with or in place of Martin Odegaard. He would, however, cost 120 to 130 million euros. Man United are nearing an agreement with Matthias Cunha, but will still need to activate his 62.5 million release clause. I only mention that because allegedly United's initial talks with Cunha's camp has been very positive for now, but there's still no formal offer. Arsenal and Newcastle are monitoring his situation and have also made inquiries about his availability. His price will be 70 million euros, which probably equates to his release tag. You did see a few weeks ago that Arsenal's interest in one away Wolves star Cunha has not gone away ahead of the summer transfer window, people. And this said at the time we could be fighting Liverpool for his signature. I'd imagine Berta knows all about him, so we'll have to see what's going on there. Arsenal chief reveals 2 things Gunners want to do at Emirates Stadium. What do you lot want to do? There could only be expansions. We all know we're playing close games with profit and sustainability. I covered this in the last stream, people. Naturally, long story short, obviously, Cronkies have a lot of clubs. They opened that SoFi Stadium, which is set to host the 2026, couple 2026 games in that World Cup. Naturally, whatever they've done there, you probably want to add things there. Obviously, we want to maximize our revenue on and off the field. And we want to try and get to an 80 capacity stadium. In 2023-24, the last published financial year, Arsenal earned 131 million through turnstiles. It was second only to Man United. Fair enough, Man United and Arsenal fans, I don't think they're, wrong in wanting to see a bit more bang for their buck. Arsenal received clear transfer message from Espanyol over Garcia. Their head coach has dropped a major hint, allegedly. We made an attempt to sign him last summer. That never happened, people. I can't guarantee he'll stay at Espanyol next season. You're all seeing the level he's at, which is what it is. Fair enough, people. We know he's been described as the Lionel Messi of goalkeepers as well. At the moment, I'm not thinking about the future, but you never know. If it happens, let it happen in the best way. If in the end it turns out I have to leave, how can I not say goodbye well? Espanyol, the club that has given me everything. If I go through the back door, it wouldn't go well. Fair enough. What's this? Bayern Munich are not the main priority for Wirtz if he decides to leave Leverkusen this summer. Wirtz is said to be impressed by Man City and Pep Guardiola, and there's no mention of us, people. While the sum of 110 million euros plus add-ons has been circulated, is a sum that does not interest Leverkusen. Previous reports have indicated the price tag will be 150, which is crazy. Intermediaries allegedly have informed Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool that Rafinha is available for 80 million this summer. There's also subsequential transfer renewal deals, and Barcelona be crazy. Him and Yalmar are your match winners, really. We have once upon a time been linked with Muniz and Hugo Ekitike. Apparently, Chelsea have held discussions with the agents of the Fulham and also the Eintracht Frankfurt striker. So one to watch closely. Again, Arsenal allegedly consider Nico Williams a key target, but the winger is undecided as to whether he wants to leave the club this summer. Man United, again, where we're leaving Sesko, apparently have maintained contact with the agents of Sesko since he rejected a move to Old Trafford in 2022. I don't believe this, but allegedly Julian Alvarez was reportedly having doubts about his Atletico Madrid future after growing disappointed with their performances in the second half of last season. Moise Kean was linked with us on a half-hearted one. Apparently Bayern are interested. He's also linked with Barcelona, people. I don't buy it. I'm not going to waste time on that. Arsenal almost signed Sesko last summer. We heard that already. We're not going to keep waffling about that. We would like Isak. Nobody really cares about any Isak chat at this moment in time. It does not help us out one bit. He'd be bloody amazing. What childhood club? Oh, Arsenal, your childhood club. I mean, that's a bit boring news here, isn't it? We were linked with Marseille's Luis Enrique, along with a number of clubs people, including Bayern Munich. Apparently, Inter Milan are advancing on completing his signature. So that's another nonsense rumor that goes away. As I said earlier, Jack Wilshere and Aaron Ramsey are set to face off as Norwich and Cardiff managers, respectively, in what's left of the Championship. Don't you lot think it's crazy? There could be 10 Premier League teams. I don't think it will be, but there could be 10 Premier League teams in European competitions next season. Top 5, as you know, get the Champions League. If Manchester United or Spurs win the Europa League, they'll qualify for the Champions League. 6th and 7th get Europa League. If Crystal Palace win the FA Cup, they get Europa League. If any of Aston Villa, Man City, Nottingham Forest win the FA Cup and finish top 5, their Europa League spot will pass down to the 8th or 9th place team, depending on. If Chelsea win the Conference League and finish in the top 7, their Europa League spot will pass down to 8th. Newcastle will qualify in the top 7 and their Conference League spot from winning the EFL Cup gets passed down. Crazy, innit? I wouldn't say it's simple. Aston Villa apparently explore Ollie Watkins' sale. Apparently, they want to let him go, people, for 50 to 60 million. So that could be one to watch in the summer, people. Mohamed Kudus is someone we all like. Apparently, he's drawing interest from clubs in Saudi Arabia. Apparently, it's widely reported that Saudi clubs will have to pay 120 million release clause to him. That price drops for Premier League sides, who would pay just about 85 million. I like Kudus, but is he worth the money? Is he worth that kind of money? I don't know. Andrea Berta is reportedly prioritizing the signing of Gyökeres. We've heard that already, so I'll be boring you lot saying the same things. We've been linked with Adam Wharton, people. He'd be good, especially with what we're doing with Declan Rice. Arsenal have been touted for a huge move for Adam Wharton as Mikel Arteta gets serious about rebuilding his midfield. I'm on that, but Crystal Palace are going to charge us an arm and a leg. Thomas Partey has played 46 times for our football club this season at 31 is crazy. We're continuously getting linked with Martin Zubamendi. Some reports say hijack business, cold feet business. Arsenal are still confident that he's going to sign for us. Sammy Motbell and all these guys have spoken. Who knows, people? I mean, I'd like Adam Wharton, but it hasn't said it. It hasn't said anything really and truly. Adam Wharton is an absolute baller. To have Lewis Skelly, Adam Wharton, a next midfielder, and Marino and Rice, we're laughing. And can't forget Wondergaard. I'm not going to read this to you, but Ryan Cherky has been compared to Mesut Ozil, people, which would be amazing if he signed for Arsenal. Arsenal will not be alone in their interest in Lyon attacker Ryan Cherky in the summer. If we really are interested in him, along with everyone else, apparently Arsenal named mention among the clubs reportedly showing interest. I don't care what Rio Ferdinand had to say, but I'd love Ryan Cherky. In terms of market opportunity, Napan, who was linked with us in January, apparently Aston Villa are closing in on an agreement with the Norwegian wonder kid on personal terms. The club is almost agreed with the finer details being sorted. Now club-to-club talks with Rosenborg will follow, people. Most assists per 90 this season in Europe's top 5 leagues. Bukayo Saka with 0.63. Mo Salah with 0.55. So, yeah, 2 good right wingers. Who do you think will win PFA Young Player of the Year? I personally think they're going to give it to Morgan Rogers. I personally think you can look no other than Miles Lewis-Skelly, but we know we're not going to win them awards. Some of you wanted Openda, people. He could be available from Leipzig. Allegedly, he's expected to stay at Leipzig. However, the German club would only consider selling him if an offer of 70 million euros, so that's about 60 odd, arrives, people. So we'll have to see. Arsenal target is refusing to sign a new contract at his current club. Is this about? We know Partey set to leave. At this point, I'm tired of speaking about Gyökeres. Martin Zubamendi is approaching his last 6 games at Sociedad. We know we're interested in him. Berta is confident of signing Zubamendi despite all the noise about Real Madrid also being in the race for his signature this summer. But in terms of Zubamendi putting pen to paper, the midfielders refused to sign a new contract at Sociedad, according to AS. In their report, the outlet claims the Spanish international is now approaching the final 6 games of his time at the club. It's considered a foregone conclusion that Zubamendi will finally leave his boyhood club in the summer, a message that Liverpool weren't lucky enough to receive last summer. Berta might need to sign 2 midfielders. Where are we with that, people? I personally think we need 2 midfielders, personally. Is anything new? Is anything new? Come on, man. Tell us Ronaldinho wants to. What? Okay. Okay. I thought it was okay. Jacob Greaves, you're cool. I thought there needs to be further punishment for this twat Davies, because what kind of tackle was that on Bukayo Saka? I'm still getting vexed about that, people. Big up Eddie and Nketiah, but we're not going to waste time. I'm respectfully to Eddie and Nketiah and Crystal Palace. Aren't we happy that Eddie and Nketiah is someone else's problem now?